And we're live. You're listening to Interchain FM, the Cosmos radio station. If you're seeking alpha in the cosmos, look no further. I'm your host, Chango and Chain. Today, I'm excited to invite Lex Avellino, one of the co-founders of PASG, back onto the show. It's been about 2 years. PASG is now live on mainnet, and we have given a tour, an alpha version of PASG when it was a little fledgling metaverse, and now it's this full-blown little toddler.
Yes,
Beta
sir.
version.
Yep.
Beta version, or would it be prod?
We're crawling.
We're crawling.
Right now, we're calling it closed alpha.
Closed alpha.
It's pretty much a beta. I mean, the so many of the features are there. Technically, beta is when you're feature complete, but not like there's still bugs. There's still features that we're building out, so it's technically an alpha. And right now, we are currently onboarding some of our first closed alpha users. So we have teams that are using this. We have different businesses that are using this, schools that are going to be using this all across the country. So yeah, a lot of early opportunities coming up.
Yeah, you gave me a preview of a beautiful world, and that was called the DeFi Dojo. And I'm hoping that you could bring our listeners into that world today and show them Fantasyland and let us pop in and out of different servers in real time. Yep.
Yeah,
Without
you're going to be
further
seeing
ado.
it all live. Yeah. So yeah, we can pull that up, and I'll show you guys what it looks like to jump into PASG. So for one, we are going to jump into the DeFi Dojo first. So shout out to DeFi Dojo Discord on Twitter. If you go look them up, validator team, technical team doing all sorts of cool stuff. Shout out to Steven from DeFi Dojo. And this is their space. So we're about to jump in. What's cool is this is just another tab on my screen, right? So like we don't have to this is not like a program running. I don't have to download anything. I click join. Boom, join event. And you'll see, again, this is all in the browser. And within just seconds here, I'm going to build up some anticipation as I jump in. I can already hear Brianna and Abby on Twitter. The inside. There we go. Here comes boom. Alexa. So you can probably hear their voices as I'm jumping in. And Brianna, Abby, yo.
It's kind of like a built-in vent, right? While you're hanging around.
Yeah, exactly. So this is what it looks like inside PASG. Yes, this is all browser-based, right? So there's no need for you to download anything. There's no apps. What you saw is what it looks like jumping in live, right? You're in within seconds. We've got other people that can jump in. Right now, you could have anywhere from like 50 to 100 is kind of our soft cap right now during the closed alpha for how many people can technically jump into one space. But you can spin up numerous servers for your world. So there's a lot of potential for how people use this, whether you're doing it for team meetings and collaborations. I'm going to also showcase, I'm going to spin up, just put a little video here on the screen so you guys can see what the in-world media playback looks like. And also just showcase a little bit more of the spatialized sound.
Nice.
Yeah, so you can hear as I walk around the screen, right? Audio is actually playing from the side. And we've got real-time video playback inside the space. And I can come in and turn down the volume a little bit. But point being, a lot of really cool things for doing presentations inside these spaces, doing different events, team hangouts, things like that. So you can kind of have conversations. There's a lot of opportunities for this.
So where does the PASG team hold their team meetings? Is it here?
So this is the DeFi Dojo. So this is their realm. We are just guests in this beautiful realm.
Gotcha.
But we usually meeting up in Blockhouse. So we'll show you Blockhouse. It'll be one of the worlds that we jump into as well. And that's an event space that we built from the ground up for doing different types of, everything from team meetings to events that end up on stage, right? So that can be stuff like concerts. It was actually an environment that we built out for one of our partners, DecentX. And one thing I'm noticing, the screen sharing is a little bit slow on the stream, but this is all playing back in 100% real time, right? So you're seeing the screen shared version of this, but this is super snappy, all playing back in real time. And actually, that music is still playing out there. That's part of what's really cool about this. The music's still playing, but we're far enough away that we can't hear it. But if I go back out again, like as you get closer, you'll hear it again. Like, so you got the spatialized audio working just as it should, where you have the ability to kind of like have different conversations in different areas. We can make these kind of like really realistic immersive spaces because it's all built around the Unreal Engine framework. But these environments are streamed to the end user. So again, there's no downloads. You don't have to download a hefty 50 gigabyte Unreal Engine game to be able to play this, right? There's a lot of opportunity for people to build things that are impossible to build on normal web-based applications. And if I can just fit through this door, there we go.
You got to turn into an oval.
Right, exactly. So there's things you literally could not build anywhere else that we can build here and make accessible for users.
Yeah.
So really unique opportunity in terms of just like visual fidelity, the immersion. Yeah.
This is like Gather, but in 3D, more like a 3D space rather than a 2D space.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's a lot like that. So GatherTown is a really cool platform. But again, one of the things we've seen, so like Brianna's here with me up on the balcony, and I can tell when Brianna is not looking at me, right? That's not something you get in any other 2D platform. There she is. Right. And in other 2D platforms, you don't get the sense, you don't know if someone's looking at you or not, because everyone's just kind of like looking at the screen, right? And when I look away, people don't know if I'm on a different tab, if I'm actually engaging with what they're showing. Like, there is no sense of like actually being together. Like, yes, when you have the 2D map in GatherTown, there is some ability to be like, okay, we're over here and we're over here, and people start to fade out as they move away. But it's totally linear, meaning people can only get quieter or louder. In Passage, you can actually hear if somebody's on your right side or on your left side. Like, you can tell where they are around you. So that when somebody talks over here, you form up a circle. People naturally do that in Passage. And if somebody talks over here, give me just 1 sec. I was informed that it is lunchtime. So if somebody's on your right-hand side talking in the circle as you gather up, you can actually hear them on that side, right? And if somebody's on your left hand, like, you just kind of turn naturally to where people are, which is really cool because you get this sense of like, we're actually in the same space. Whereas in Zoom, people are all just kind of talking over each other because they're all at the same, decibel level. Everyone's kind of doing the same thing. And then in addition to being the same audio level, there is no spatialization, right? Even with GatherTown, there's only one level of spatialization, which is quieter or louder. But if someone's quiet, you don't know where to go to get closer to them necessarily, right? Because you don't know where they're coming from, just that they're further away, right? And so, like, point being, the 3D element of this, it's one change that makes a huge impact, right? In terms of like what the experience is like, how it feels, and how people actually feel together in these spaces. And that's a big part of the feedback we've gotten as we've been developing Passage, is that like this experience just feels different than anything else people have been in, because it is a very unique application, not only of kind of the virtual space, but of a specifically 3D space as well. So,
and it's beautiful. I feel like I'm in 17th century Japan.
Yeah, exactly.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, and the beauty is, we'll jump into we can probably jump into the Strange Clan world next. Actually, we'll do the fantasy world, and then we'll jump into the Strange Clan world. And what's really cool about these different spaces is that they can all have very different styles, right? So like the fantasy world is more like this. It's more on the realistic side. But then with the Strange Clan world, it's a little bit more stylized, right? So there is kind of a broad opportunity for what these worlds can look like in terms of being more realistic, less realistic. It just gives you a lot of ways to create worlds where we can have something that is like super stylized, or something that is more realistic, just depending on like do you want this to be a professional setting? Do you want this to be a more like gamer casual setting? And basically that gives us the opportunity to just like accommodate a large range of use cases, right?
Mm-hmm. And for someone like a validator who wants to host a realm on Passage, how is it done? Are they hosting the servers themselves, or are they subscribing and paying Passage for the right to do it, and then for you to host it for them? How does it work?
Yeah. So basically, it is kind of it's what we have is a subscription where people get access to the Passage infrastructure, right? And people can just simply pay for their streaming time, right? And we do have a growing integration with Akash, where some of the services are on Akash right now. So like our GPUs can come from Akash. Like here, I can actually go into, I'll pull open our event calendar here. Okay, so if you can see this, and these are some of the worlds that I have lined up for us to jump into next. And if I go into create an event, I can actually come down here into the advanced settings and switch over to Akash GPUs for the event that I want to create. So again, this can be something that is streamed via Akash GPUs, and we're moving more and more of the services onto Akash as well. But point being,
But how does it change for you when you switch from AWS
cheaper.
to Akash?
It's
It's
up to
cheaper?
70% cheaper. Oh yeah, way
Nice.
cheaper. Yeah. So that is the advantage of doing the Akash setup, is that we have the ability to like just lower costs tremendously, and obviously decentralizing the providers. Right? It's set up in such a way that like, it becomes more censorship resistant and all that, right? The more things we push over to Akash, the more there is this kind of layer of decentralization in terms of the infrastructure itself, right?
Mhm.
Not just your data, not just your assets and things like that, but actually the infrastructure it's running on becomes more impervious to censorship and honestly better performing in a lot of ways too. The GPUs we can get in Akash are way better. They have a much higher cap. It's much easier to get the top tier GPUs on Akash than basically anywhere else. So,
And do you know why that is?
I mean, shoot, because anyone can provide them, right? So, like AWS, they have to decide what GPUs they're going to provide.
Oh, and so they provide the better ones with higher capacity to their more premium clients or something?
I'm sure there's some of that, because I know it's simply difficult to get a hold of those GPUs on Amazon. It's not just that there aren't enough of them. I mean, that is part of it, right? But also like, yeah, like there's a lot of red tape, right? There's a lot of like, it's a permissioned network. So, you have to go through a permissioned process to get access to any GPUs, but then to get access specifically to these high tier AI GPUs. It's more work, more paperwork you have to do, more people you got to talk to, things like that. And it's just not easy by any means for your average developer to get a hold of those. Whereas on Akash right now, you can go and get, I don't remember what all the best GPUs are, but like H100s, like you can get some of the top tier high tensor core GPUs for AI algorithms and things like that on Akash right now, right?
Excellent.
Yeah, and substantially cheaper than you would get them anywhere else as well. So Gustavo from the chat asked, what are the benefits of having it on AWS? So that's a good question, because if we have some if we have an option to do AWS over Akash, why is that option even there if Akash is cheaper, right? And right now it's because not all of the services have moved over to Akash. So like there are just there's some features that are only on AWS servers right now, as we move some of our infrastructure to like Linux providers so that we can push that over to AWS, or push it over to Akash from AWS. But then the other benefit is that there's a good chance that we cap out the GPUs that are available on Akash. We haven't done that yet, right? But once we go live and anybody can push a Passage world to Akash GPUs, we could run out of GPUs basically. So
But doesn't
AWS
Akash fall back on AWS anyway?
No. So when you get a GPU from Akash, you're basically you're through the smart contract, you are renting that GPU directly from a provider, right? Now, somebody could, if I understand correctly, they could get hold of AWS hardware and provide that through Akash, I believe. But again, you can see kind of like locations of the GPUs. Like a lot of the GPUs that are provided through Akash are data centers, right? So independent data centers that are providing GPUs during off hours, or like they're providing compute that they're not able to use up through their normal contracts or operations. So it gives them a way to not have a ton of overhead for the hardware. So that's why it can be more cost effective, is you've got a lot of people who they're taking their excess capacity in terms of hardware, or it's just people who, again, in some ways, we're in price discovery for what GPU compute should look like, because for so long, those prices have been controlled by just a few entities, right? Google Cloud, AWS, Azure, things like that. So that's why there's such a big cost discrepancy between AWS and Akash, is like, we don't really know what the prices for this compute should be, because there hasn't really been a truly open market until Akash.
Right. So there's been basically an oligopoly that has cornered that market. And now that the Akash model is breaking the market open, it's more of a free market that should be dictated by supply and demand over enough time.
Yeah, absolutely. And Adam just brought up that, like, wouldn't it be a great problem if basically we were running out of GPUs on Akash, right? We're using so much Akash GPUs that it created more demand, and that's exactly the goal, right? Exactly the goal is to be able to run out of GPUs so that we can create more demand for the decentralized network. So yeah, 100%.
Man, Adam, I just got to compliment that Chad beard and that PFP. That looks like you look like the Chad meme
Adam
in
is
real life.
He's one of our moderators in the Passage and Strange Clan community as well.
Excellent. Vapcho.
Yes, Vapcho open beta for public. So if you want to try out Passage now, jump in the Discord, because we do have lots of opportunities for people to get in on the alpha. So the open beta won't be till the summer when we kind of open Passage up to the public. But if you want to try it out, jump in the Discord. There will be lots of opportunities. So,
I mean, look at the detail of this place. It's beautiful.
Oh yeah.
I was just in Japan and I saw the cherry blossoms. It was absolutely breathtaking. And this is such a nice little I guess return to the scene.
Heck yeah.
You could have eternal cherry blossoms.
Okay, so I'm going to jump into the fantasy world now.
And I think I'm going to say DeFi Dojo is my favorite. Preemptively, I haven't seen the other worlds, but it's so pretty.
Oh yeah. I will say, like, as we build more and more Passage worlds, it only gets better, right? Like, this world, though, is one of my favorites. This is one we built from the ground up. It's very, like, Final Fantasy inspired. So there's, like, just a lot of really cool, like, Dark Souls vibes, and, like, the atmosphere is just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, but we built this, so we have a studio. The studio that basically conceived Passage is called 3 Division. And this is a studio that I founded like 7 years ago. And we were doing, a bunch of big virtual events for teams like Capitol Records, Amazon. And Passage kind of came out of that, where we wanted to build something unique. And now this studio, 3 Division, so like if you want to build a Passage world, you have a couple options right now. You can either go grab something off the Unreal Engine marketplace, because anything that's Unreal Engine native will integrate with Passage just by default, which is really cool. You could also just find an Unreal Engine artist on Upwork. Like, there's such a great community of content creators around Unreal Engine that it's not hard to find somebody who can build you an Unreal Engine level, and all Unreal Engine levels natively integrate with Passage. But the other option is we can connect you with our partner studio, 3 Division, where you'll have the ability to work with them to customize a space from the ground up, right? And that's kind of what they've been doing in a lot of ways, is they have been just kind of like one of our first creator partners like an official Passage builder, right? And in the future, we'll have a lot more of them, right? Because basically anyone who can build for Unreal Engine can build for Passage. But the beauty of building for Passage over Unreal Engine direct, like specifically, is that if you push your level to Passage, rather than just making a Windows build or a Mac build or whatever, anyone can jump in and stream it no matter what their hardware is, right? So this is going to be a huge opportunity for Unreal Engine builders, as much as it is an opportunity for content creators and educators and people across a lot of different verticals. Like this actually opens up a lot of ways that Unreal Engine builders and 3D artists can build for anybody, right? So instead of simply building for gamers, building for people who can run an Unreal Engine level on their machine, you can now build for anybody who can click a link, right? Which is actually a very broad sector of the population, the link clickers. So we've tried to make this as simple as possible. You guys have seen the process right here of getting into a Passage world, right? And there's no hardware requirements. There's no like specific. All you need is an internet connection. If you have an internet connection, you can run Passage on your phone, tablet, desktop, whatever. You can jump into a Passage world, and it's all streamed the same way. So you're in the same world. It's not like, well, here's the mobile version and it's all dumbed down and the graphics aren't as good. And then here's the gamer version, right? It's all the same. That's the beauty of it. Everybody jumps into the exact same experience, no matter what device they're on. And it's just one click. So
is there any chance if someone does have hardware, if they wanted to jump in through like an Oculus or some kind of device and get immersed, could they do that?
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. So basically the way this works, being built in Unreal Engine, we can build it, we can basically run it on the Passage infrastructure, but we will also have, eventually, when you go into your Passage dashboard, when you're setting up a world, you can turn on downloads, right? Where somebody can see, oh, this event is happening, cool, I can jump in streaming, but you might have like little icons like streaming available or download available, right? Where people can download it to their machine and run it locally and then be in the same world that everybody else is in, right? So again, if you have like a VR headset, if you have a gaming machine and you want to run this at 4K, 120 FPS, then yes, like we would very much encourage people to take advantage of the hardware that they have. But that's always going to be like, but having this as a baseline is really unique, right? Because there's lots of experiences where like, yeah, if you have a gaming machine, of course you can have an awesome gaming experience. But so few people who have a normal machine get to have this type of experience, right? So yes, basically we're combining the best of both worlds where we will have downloads available, where if people want to run it locally, they totally can.
So far, what you've shown me, like actually the use case that is speaking to me right now is social-fi rather than gaming. So because like this is just a different medium for something like, a friend tech club or a clubhouse house or whatever they call it.
Yep.
And just kind of like a, if someone were to host their own realm in Passage, basically if they issued their social tokens or something as the access to get in, then this is just a different medium than like a mobile app in a chat room or something. But it still harkens to the same vertical.
Yep. Yeah. No, it is a much more, I mean, the social element of it is huge, right? Because what's particularly unique about Passage is the ability for people to have a personal connection, right? It is the social nature of the interaction that makes this like so much different than other games. Like it is funny, even games on Passage feel different when you can see people's face, right? Like that's a big part of kind of what sets Passage apart as an experience, is the ability to see people face to face and have that kind of like, oh, like you're actually here rather than just looking at an avatar, right?
But what if I want an avatar and to be able to hide under anonymity, like in the VR chat?
Then we'll have that too.
Oh yeah.
So already, I mean, if anyone's seen, we have some cool updates coming from the Wawaverse with the Chihuahua chain. And in that world, when you jump in, again, it's a Passage streamed world,
Sorry, is that world live? Can we hop in there?
It's not live. We
Ah,
will show some
woof,
stuff. I know, right? Here, actually,
woofs in disappointment.
I know,
Woofs
right?
disapprovingly.
I can share something. Um,
My goodness, Wawaverse.
okay, but I will say this is very, very alpha. Here, hold up. Let me pull up an acceptable video that is not too. I don't know if I can share this because it has some secret information in it. But I will say we'll be showing some stuff soon.
I'm sure the Wawa community would be okay with the alpha leak and
Yes.
the
Yes.
marketing.
I gotta figure out what, because there's part of the video that there's like secret development information that I don't want to share. So we'll follow up. We'll do a follow up where we jump into the Wawaverse because it's really cool. Yeah,
I would love to see that.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of cool opportunities in that environment specifically because it's a very stylized world, and you can jump into the Wawaverse. But then from there, you can actually go through these little portals and jump into minigame lobbies where like up to 4 people can jump into a minigame together from the main world, right? So it's a really cool, I mean, it's a very unique system in terms of the infrastructure, but it's also just really cool in terms of like the experience is unique, right? Because you're getting a streamed experience, but then you're jumping into another streamed experience with a different section of the lobby. It's pretty cool. So
what mini games, for example, would be there?
So we have like an endless runner game. We have a almost like a Pac-Man style game. It's like 4-player Pac-Man where you're running from these like big cats. And then we have Tai Chi Wawa, which is a Wawa fighting game.
That's so funny. Oh my goodness.
Okay, so I'm gonna show you a little peek. Oh, this is great. Actually, this is perfect. I didn't realize they'd put a cleaned version of the video on their Twitter. Give me just 1 second, and I'll switch to this tab. Boom.
Okay.
So this is on the AAA Meta Wawa. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yes, okay, cool.
Oh, you could turn the audio on. I think I was hearing something.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, but basically what's cool about this is you can go from I had my mic on during this recording. I was recording this for their team, and I just heard myself clear my throat in the video. But if you hear any like ambient Lex noises. But again, this is what's cool about it, right? So like, okay, this is the overworld experience where you're like running around, you've got all these customizations you can use and things like that. And then you can go up to these portals, create a lobby or join a lobby, right? Boom, woof. Everyone says they're ready, and then you can start the game with up to 4 people, right? And again, this is another like stream.
Oh, there that is. There's that Lex.
Yes. And the characteristic card shuffle as well. You can hear in the background. This is development, guys. This is what it sounds like. And then again, this is the endless runner game, right? So like I just tested this earlier today. Actually, we have an update where me, Abby, and Wes from our team jumped in. And when 3 people jump in, you've got 3 tracks, right? And all of them are doing different obstacles. Like it's all procedurally generated. It's really cool. It's like a really fun, just like almost Mario Party style experience, but a little bit more social because you're just like hanging out in the overworld. People can kind of group up as they want to in different games. Yeah, but again, this is all streamed, right? This is running in Unreal Engine 5. So like, this is obviously a more stylized design, but any kind of graphics are available in Unreal Engine. A lot of really cool things you can do. But there's no downloads. There's no like apps you have to have or anything like that. It's just all based in the Passage streaming experience. So it's very unique in that respect.
So is this a pure game, or are we doing play to earn at some point?
I mean, this is basically it's meant to be.
Or is it fun enough on its own that you don't need to incentivize people to play it?
Oh no, exactly. No, it's fun because it's a community experience, right? That's what it is primarily, and that is what's really special and unique about the like Passage infrastructure and kind of like what that allows us to do. Because with this, you're able to create something that is socially oriented. So it gives you the ability that like people don't have to be incentivized to hang out with their community, right? Like when there's social motivation. So some of the things that are coming to play with Wawaverse will be like our pals puck system or the avatar customization system. So all those little fun like flare that you see on the Chihuahua, those will be unlocked via NFTs, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah. So there's like a bunch of really cool customizations. Like you can kind of go wild. It's a lot of fun.
So is there? How do you get your base Wawa?
Through the Wawa collection on the Passage marketplace.
Interesting. So that's where is that the home for that hosts the collection?
Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, so
yeah.
is that on Passage Chain?
Yes, ma'am. Yep.
Okay. So what are you like? What denomination of which token are you paying in?
Passage tokens. Yep. So basically, if you go to,
I thought it would have been Wawa, but
it will be in the future. So we're going to support, we're going to support more Cosmos tokens, right? But if you go to marketplace.passage.io, you can get access to the Passage marketplace, get access to the Strange Clan characters and the Wawas. And if you buy a Meta Wawa with a beta trait, or sorry, alpha tester trait on it, then you can get access to the alpha testing that we're doing now for the Wawaverse. So they've already jumped into the Wawaverse together as a group at least once or twice. I've had several beta demos, but we'll have another one coming up to test the mini games because now we have several of those mini games live inside the Wawaverse. So
this is just I'm curious about game regulations because like what prevents you, like, whether it's copyright or whatever, from kind of borrowing the mechanics of classic games, but then putting it in like different wrapper.
Yeah, I mean, there are. I mean, it depends because that's been done a ton, right? Like even modern titles like Fall Guys, like there've been a bunch of like parkour based or like obstacle based games built out since then to be able to showcase like functionality like that. So like people copy each other's games all the time, right? Like that's pretty.
I mean, it's hard to come up with a creative, a completely original game.
Yeah, absolutely. And also like there's going to be overlap when it comes to like different game functionality. So I'm about to jump into the Strange Clan world now.
All right, let's hop in.
Yeah. Okay. So
again, so when you're jumping
this,
into
transition live,
yeah, are you just hopping different servers and then your avatar just like evaporates in the ether in this world and just pops up into the other?
Basically, so I can show you. I'm trying not to give away any of our secret links, so other people don't randomly appear in our stream. But basically, I go over here. I've got live. These are my live events. When I create an event, I can schedule it, and then I scheduled several events to go live. While we're doing this, and then I jump in here, and I've basically got our secret links in there to get access to this world. So it's as simple as just clicking a different link to hop over there, right? And you could be in several different worlds at the same time if you had them in different tabs. Then it's just going to depend on like how does your computer want to handle sharing the video feed. But I'm going to jump into the Strange Clan world. Yeah.
So in terms of pricing, if someone wanted to like pay a fee to get a world built and then hosted, is there some kind of standard pricing packet?
Yeah, so to some extent it's like yeah, it is developing now. Like we're developing that scheme with the closed alpha users. But basically there's going to be a subscription that's like similar to a like premium Adobe subscription or something like that, right? And then you pay for your server costs, which are right now, depending, it's around 60 cents per person per hour, depending on the world, depending on the if you're on a cost, it's going to be cheaper, right? Actually, substantially cheaper. So again,
and does that scale exponentially if you have more games in there and require more bandwidth?
Yeah, so basically, like it all depends on how many people, right? So like every person, the way it works, every person basically gets access to about half a GPU, right? So if you have 100 people, then you're going to need 50 GPUs, right? So there's a lot of ways that people can the big use cases for Passage on the front end, like some of the earliest use cases, are things like being able to host your team, right? Because then basically it's similar to a subscription model like Zoom, right? Where you have different
Yeah.
seats for your team.
Or like Slack. How does it
Sure.
compare to Slack pricing or Gather even?
I mean, it would be more expensive than
Right, because
Slack,
this is right,
probably
it's
more
just
expensive than
more
Gather
text.
as well. But again, like for the level of immersion that you're getting, and this is why all of our closed alpha participants have basically been like, yeah, this is perfect, right? Because again, if you're not paying for like a physical location for your team, right? If you're saving costs on things like that, if this is the way you're connecting for sales calls, even imagine like you're selling a premium product, you sell cars or jet engines or whatever, and you can sell through a portal like this where you could actually show off that 3D product, and then it's much more compelling to have a premium experience like this than to bring somebody into Zoom, right? And if you're going to make a sale based off of this, if your business is built around these connections, these sales, investors you might pull in, things like that, then it makes sense to use a premium solution like Passage. Now, for your everyday user who's just trying to, FaceTime grandma, like, are they going to jump into Passage? Probably not, right? We want to make it more accessible, but that's not the group that we're starting with, right? Right now, the two groups that are like super excited about Passage from our waitlist, and the waitlist is like almost 4,000 people at this point, we've seen a trend for enterprise and education. There's a lot of educational institutions. People pay good money for school. And if you're in a remote program, you still want something that's going to be personal, right? And reasonably immersive. Passage gives you that. It gives you something where you can have a more personal experience remotely. So we've got schools all across the country that are interested in Passage. We have developing partnerships with basically programs that work with schools and remote programs all across the country. And then we also have a lot of businesses. So everything from DescendX is a Web3 entertainment and music partner on the enterprise side. And then also teams that are just going to be collaborating. So like validators and infrastructure guys like DeFi Dojo. But then also teams that are just collaborating internally, right, for their team meetings and things like that. Again, it makes sense for remote teams trying to reach a better collaboration, more personal, immersive experience. But still, it's not the same cost as like the overhead for a building, right? So like it's still cheaper than having to have like a physical location, but you can have people all across the country collaborating in a way that feels much more personal. So
for a conference, this would be a great place
like
to host them.
Cosmoverse.
Yeah, definitely. Cosmoverse, OsmoCon, all of these different opportunities. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we've got a bunch of cool things coming up in the Cosmos. There's a bunch of your favorite Cosmos fam who will be rocking a Passage world very soon. Because yeah, it's a cooler format. I mean, like we did our live stream with the Cosmos Spaces crew inside the Strange Clan world, right? Inside the blockhouse. We jump between. We did the same thing we're doing now. We jump between different Passage worlds, and it's a really cool experience being able to have a conversation like that, right? Because you get this sense of being there when you can hear the people around you, from the camera perspective. You can hear where somebody's talking. It's not just kind of this jumble of people on stage. It's like, oh no, someone's over there. And then like you turn and the person, and it just feels more immersive. So like even for just content creator stuff, I feel like Passage is a very, very unique experience.
Yeah. Is there any future where, for example, Web3 is all about ownership, and when I hear the word metaverse, I think of owning a plot of land or some piece of property inside of the metaverse.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any of that planned for some kind of future roadmap? where people could purchase their own, like
Yeah.
artificially scarce, finite piece of land in some world somewhere.
Basically, that kind of stuff will be dependent on each world, right? Each world can implement their own land mechanisms. Like there's going to be a strange clan mechanism for land ownership, right? But there won't be a passage mechanism because the metaverse as a whole should not be artificially scarce, right? The things that should be scarce are things that are naturally scarce, like legitimate resources or, for instance, a pass that gives you access to a content creator, right? You don't want to have thousands of those because then you're not actually guaranteed to have, real access to that person because you're competing with thousands of other people. So you want like insider clubs and things like that to be scarce because a human's time is scarce, right? But in terms of like digital space, it's endless and it should feel endless, right? It should feel limitless in terms of making it more accessible for people. Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities to open up and create more freedom inside of the metaverse rather than creating artificial scarcity.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to try something real quick. I'm going to switch from screen sharing in here to I'm going to switch my camera real quick over to OBS and see if this is a smoother experience.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
All
cool.
right.
Yeah, guys, let me know how this looks on stream. If this
looks good.
Smoother.
This is pretty smooth.
Cool. And you guys can hear me all right?
Yes.
Cool.
Loud and clear.
Beans. So yeah, I saw Adam and Greg being like, but it's normally so smooth and the lag does not make it smooth. So this is what it actually feels like for those of you who are watching. It's extremely smooth. It is like I'm just playing the game locally. But I'm not. This is all.
Ooh, church.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
The chapel, the Vigilance Chapel. So the lore is that actually the church was built before the rest of the town. These were very religious folk who came to settle in this area. And we got the butcher shop over here.
And is that the Strange Clan?
It is a Strange Clan. Strange Clan is a very broad reference to the just many groups. So you'll learn in the lore more about the people from. There's two different. Well, I'm not going to give away some of the backstory. You got stuff coming up. If you want to learn more about the lore, go check out the stuff on the Discord, and we'll have more to explore. There's even more stuff, lore to explore in the hunt. Speaking of Strange Clan, next week we'll have an announcement today with a few more details. But next week, Friday, the hunt begins. The hunt is a demo of the Strange Clan game, where people will get to test out some of the like basic functionality, gliding, swimming, climbing, exploring, but then also puzzling. So like unlocking different secrets, because there's 3 items that you have to collect in the hunt, and the first person to do it is going to get some really rare NFT. I've got a couple options actually of like really rare. There's one that just sold for I think like $10,000 in Passage, and it's a really rare medic variation. But we
what is that, and what makes it rare?
It's rare because there's only like a handful of them. It's like a witch doctor style medic skin. And there's another one.
What does the skin get you?
It's just a different. It's a very rare variation of that class. So the medic class is like a healer class inside of the Strange Clan game, right? And that's just a particular rare cosmetic version of that class. And it looks pretty stinking cool. And it's also a Shiba Inu. So you can't tell because of the mask on. But it is, if you look at the NFT data, it is a Shiba Inu underneath.
The medic is a Shiba Inu.
Yep. Yeah.
Nice.
And there's also a farmer from a rare farmer from Town 2 that we have. That whatever. So point being, there'll be some really cool giveaways during this event. We'll also just give away quote unquote cash prizes in passage tokens for people who complete the hunt. We'll have prizes for people who, like, the first person will get a big prize, first person to complete the hunt. But we'll also have prizes for the like first 10 people to complete it, or the first like people who do like an epic kill of a Mord, one of the enemies in the hunt, or people who discover really amusing bugs as well. So again, this is an alpha test of the Strange Clan feature set, so there will be fun bugs and stuff to experience.
So for the hunt, what is the goal? Is it kind of like you're going to be exploring the Strange Clan world and finding Easter eggs and killing monsters
Yep,
while
basically, you can go in
potentially
with
reporting bugs?
up to 7 friends, so 8 people in a party, and kill
Or a
Mords,
guild?
explore. Yeah, exactly. Your clan, your little clan, um, and you're searching for treasure chests, basically, that have certain items that you will discover, and people will submit, videos of themselves playing to showcase that they got it, and the first person to get all 3 of the chests and the items inside will get prizes. So
Okay. Is there a link? Do people have to apply? How do they
yes,
get
we'll
into the
announce
hunt?
it in. Well, I mean, we'll post a bunch of information on Twitter and Discord. You will need to have a Genesis NFT, so you'll have to have one of the Strange Clan NFTs to get access. So that is the only thing you'll need to prep. So if you do not yet have a Strange Clan NFT, I would go and acquire one, because it's going to be a lot of fun, and it'll be, a very social experience as well, right? Like, everyone will be hanging out, trying stuff out. It'll be all weekend, so Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Not this weekend, but next weekend. So next week is when it starts. We do have a test for this demo, just like a technical test, tomorrow, that the Genesis holders will get to participate in. So again, if you want to be involved in some of this stuff as the game develops further, then jump into the Discord and grab a Strange Clan NFT.
Sweet. So if they're participating and they want to prove that they've completed a mission, then are they going to be recording their screen the whole time?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. People will have to record to prove their submissions.
Are we, or have we been in any of the worlds where this is going to be hosted?
I mean, this is the Strange Clan community world.
Okay, so this is where it's going to be.
The demo world is different. So it's a lot of the same. It's the same style. So for instance, you'll see a lot of the same, like, materials, the same trees are over there, but it is a different part of the map. So it's a different part of the map, and the graphics for the demo are not the same as this. They were still being optimized, so it looks good, but it's definitely not. This is production ready. That one is still a demo. So point being, it is a new part of the map people will get to explore. There will be lots of cool reasons to pull out your glider and to try to get access to different cliffs and areas across the map. So there will be lots of fun exploration of that space. And you'll do some swimming and things like that too.
Wonderful. Besides using passage tokens to purchase NFTs, what else can people do with it?
Right now,
besides staking the passage chain too.
Yeah, exactly. Those are the 2 key use cases: is passage NFTs, and we have more utility coming for the NFTs very soon, because we have, this is passage, right? People will be able to jump into passage worlds. If you go and stake your NFTs, actually, that's one way to get access to the alpha testing for passage world. If you want to become an alpha tester,
stake an NFT.
Sorry,
what is that?
Stake the tokens, the passage tokens.
Got it.
We don't have NFT staking live yet, but that is something that we are working on for the Strange Clan characters.
What's the thinking behind that?
The NFT staking,
Mm-hmm.
that'll be how you hatch your eggs.
Hatch eggs.
Yes, there are eggs. You can go and buy them on the marketplace now, but the hatching will start when the NFT staking is live.
So is the NFT that is stakeable their eggs?
You actually have to stake the egg with a character, so you're locking up both. So in order to participate in the hatching, you're going to have a character and an egg, and they'll unlock mounts or companions, basically.
Oh, interesting.
Yep. And the rarity will be based off of how long you stake. Basically, as you're staking, you're going to unlock, crystals that you can use to upgrade the egg to get a better chance of getting a more rare egg. So the longer you stake, the more upgrades you get. Then, and there'll be an end. It'll be probably like 12-month process.
Are there dragons?
You'll have to see. We actually have not revealed any of those characters yet, so that is still a surprise.
Wow. Okay, so by staking an egg and charging it with some crystals,
yep,
and warming it up with a character,
yep,
eventually it'll hatch.
Yes, and there are. If you look at the eggs, they'll look different. Like there's different types of eggs. You can get some sense of what kind of characters there will be. So that's my one hint. Go check out the eggs.
Cool. Sounds fun.
Yeah,
I love it.
Beans. Okay, I'm going to jump over to the last world on our list here, which is the blockhouse.
Okay, is that the last world?
I mean, there's more, but that's the last one I have booted up for our first spin, and then part 2 we jump into Wawaverse.
Part 2. Let's jump into Wawaverse. I want to play some games. In the part 2, I want to invite, if anyone in Wawa community is watching this, I would love to invite you to come onto the stream with us, or come onto the Wawaverse instance so that we can play together while Lex and I stream.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, I'm going to copy this link, and I am jumping over. So you're going to see live. Like I put a different link in. Boom. Join.
Entering the blockhouse.
Yep.
And what is the blockhouse?
Blockhouse is a music venue, basically. So this is with our partner Decentex or Decentralize. And hopefully this is nice and snappy now that I'm doing a live video.
It's very, yeah.
Good. And here we'll put just for funsies.
So in terms of access to these different realms, is there token gating to this, or can anyone just join as long as they have the link?
All right, boom. I'm gonna turn that down a little bit so we don't get a copyright strike or anything. But no, so I mean, there's going to be both. There's going to be NFT token gating as well as like crypto, like fungible token gating, right? Where you can gate spaces based off of like holding a certain NFT or holding a certain amount of a token, right? There will be lots of opportunities for people to do all of the above, right? It'll be both.
Gotcha. Yeah, I could see the SocialFi use case taking off, especially if there's some, prominent YouTube influencer, let's say Mr. Beast or something, and if he issues tickets to access his realm where he's going to be hanging out and streaming his stream, or like Twitch gamer streamers. So now you're not just watching their Twitch stream, you're watching a Twitch stream within a Twitch stream. You're in the stream
100%,
but you're watching them play the game in like with a screen inside the realm or something. Like if I'm playing a game like Valorant or something, whatever popular game kids play these days, and I have a screen like here, can I project that on the screen?
Oh, totally. Yeah. You could, it's not set up yet, but there's no reason you couldn't like live stream onto these screens, right? So like people could come in and watch in person. But here's what's really wild about Passage. You got to stop thinking of it in terms of like traditional streaming, right? Like, yes, you could do that. You could stream onto the screen in the space. That is one opportunity. But you could also just have people stream the game, right? So like instead of watching you from a stream, they go into the game and follow you around, right? Because they don't have to download the game. They don't have to own the game. They can just stream it via Passage, right? So that's the idea, is that like if you're able to like use Passage for game streamers, it's not so much about like being able to watch on a 2D screen in a 3D world. It's like, no, they could just jump into the 3D world with their phone just as easy as watching a YouTube video, right? So that's part of why we wanted to create Strange Clan, why we're really invested in kind of like the future of gaming on Passage, because like I said, our go-to-market audience in a lot of ways is first and foremost education and enterprise. Like those are some of the key examples that we see right now. But as this grows, the opportunity for gaming and game streaming is huge, because there's a lot of really, really unique applications of what that looks like. So
one unique application is, what if there's a deprecated game like Ultima Online?
Yes.
Deprecated, beloved game, completely like open, and anyone could spin up a server to run the game, a new instance of the game. Would they be able to breathe life back into that game in Passage?
Sure. I mean, the beauty of it is, we are going to decentralize more of the infrastructure so that it would be permissionless. Like that's our goal, is to make this more accessible, to make decentralized hardware like Akash more accessible to people. And if that's more accessible, then being able to also offer all the layers of Passage in a more decentralized format. So there's no reason people couldn't upload any assets they might have to the Passage marketplace, access that 3D data through a Passage world on decentralized compute, and create any kind of experience. I think it will become very, very open as Passage develops and more of this becomes open infrastructure that people can use on their own, or they can host it through, Passage's services, right? That we want people to have all of the options to do it either way, if they want to host things themselves, or if they want to use our services to do that. It's going to be really up to them in terms of their building capability and just what people want to create.
So is Strange Clan revving up to be almost the Amazon for game hosting?
So Strange Clan is really focused on just being a good game, right? Strange Clan is an action role-playing game.
I'm sorry, Passage.
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, Passage, it's right now, Passage, like you said, the focus is social, right? Like the focus is on the social experience and something that is relatively handheld, right? Like we're holding people's hands through the process, because we want people to be able to jump in effortlessly, right? And the ease of use is probably the most important element. What comes after that over time is further decentralization and more open access to the infrastructure, right? So I do think at first it's going to heavily lean in terms of people who, like, frankly, don't care as much about the infrastructure, right? Obviously, we're going to have better solutions for people with cheaper hardware from providers like Akash, right? Mm-hmm. But people aren't going to care about that. They just care about the price. And that is the beauty of Passage. You don't have to care. It's one click and you're in. You can be a salesperson on an enterprise team at a Fortune 100 company and invite an investor to a demo for a new product, right? And he clicks that link and he just thinks he's jumping into Zoom or Google or whatever, right? Nobody has to know about Passage to use it, to jump into Passage, right? That's the beauty of it, is the accessibility. And over time, I do think it will create more open infrastructure. But I do see it as an infrastructure for creators. So it is more specific in some ways than AWS, Amazon services. It is for creators, communicators. It is social in nature in terms of kind of the fundamental infrastructure that we want to create. But yeah, I do think more of that develops. I do think there is a solid architecture play over time.
Great. Cool. All right. So coming up on the hour, let's close out. And are there any final comments that you want to add? And any roadmap announcements that people don't know about yet? Call to actions?
Yeah. No. Shoot. Stuff that's coming up. Stay tuned for the Strange Clan stuff. Jump in. Yeah, everybody leave a like on the video. If you're watching here live, drop a thumbs up right now because
drop it.
I appreciate you being here. Thanks for hanging out, yopping it up with us. But then, yes, coming up, stay tuned for the Strange Clan events. We'll have some announcements today for the hunt next week. And come get involved with the alpha testing, right? Grab a little bag of passage, stake it, jump into the Discord, claim your passage staker role in the Discord, and yeah, come get involved. I mean, again, I think the biggest thing is you have to come in and try it for yourself. Like until you've been able to like talk to somebody face to face inside a 3D environment like this, it is really difficult to showcase just how unique this experience is. So come in, try it out, hang out with us, and yeah, that's the biggest thing I could say because that's what's going to blow people's minds is actually getting in and trying it out for themselves.
Yeah, totally. I have enjoyed this tour. Thank you so much, Lex, for bringing us on it.
Heck yeah.
Yep. All right. And for those of y'all watching live, stay tuned for version 2 where we hit the Wobbleverse. That's coming soon.
Heck
Probably
yeah.
after the hunt.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, 100%. Let's do it.